Alice was born on August 6, 1912, in Scranton, Pennsylvania. She received her communion at the age of 5 in St. Anne's Church. She attended Marywood High School and then went on to go to Marywood College for chemistry studies. Her mother taught her that the only way to get places in life is through education. After several years of working on her education and career as a teacher, she found the love of her life, like many others during this period. At 10 o'clock on April 19th in 1941, Alice got married to Frank Rooney, a man who studied at Holy Cross because he could play piano by ear. She was 29, already showing that she was different from all the other women during this time. Some of her friends said she would become an old hag if she did not marry right after high school. She created the idea that a woman can still be happy if they marry later in their life. That following summer was an exciting time in Scranton. However, as the summer ended, foreign affairs became pressing matters. On December 1941, Alice traveled with 3 couples to a wedding in Binghamton. The entire group decided to stop in a restaurant on their way. However, when they walked in, a hush fell over the bar, and Pearl Harbor had just been bombed. After that day, Alice would never see any of those friends again. The war had started. During World War II, Alice Rooney was raising a child and sitting right in the middle of a circle of constant worrying, with all of her brothers, husband, and friends on the edges. Alice's mind was constantly racing, thinking about all of the people so important in her life, and how they were off at war. Every night she partook in numerous contemplations like, is my family okay? Are they alive? All 3 of her brothers were drafted the day after they got their high school diplomas. Her husband went straight to the war effort also. Her husband and her finally met up at Camp Lee in Virginia, and she received a house by a departing couple that she met in a bar. When she was settled in the camp, she would walk near the Navy base every day, and men would give her letters out of desperation, with sometimes just an address on them. She would make sure every one of those letters were stamped and sent back to the precise fighters' loved ones. All 3 of her brothers were in the Air Corps. Her eldest 2 brothers trained at Will Rogers, and her other brother, Tom, trained in Nebraska but never saw action. Her eldest brother, Eddie, fought in London and was shot down, but survived. Her other brother, Ben, or BJ, was fighting in Guam. One day, Alice got a phone call from her father asking her to contact the Red Cross because they said that BJ was shot down and was missing. However, Alice had gotten a letter from him after the Red Cross notice. He actually did get shot down and was stuck in Guam, but he ended up being okay. Through Alice's strong family and robust mind, she raised a child while thinking about her 3 brothers, a husband, and countless friends in the war. Right before the war was over, Alice had her second girl, Kay. She moved to Fairlington, Virginia, and Frank started to work in the Pentagon. In 1945, World War II ended, and Alice was reunited with her whole family. The family celebrated with an eccentric wedding. Eddie married a single child, Marie, and everything was swell again. Alice bought a house in Falls Church, Virginia, and raised Mary and Kay, and soon, a 3rd girl, Alicia. She met up with her sisters Betty and Mary soon after. Once Alicia was in 1st grade, Alice started to teach at George Mason High School as a chemistry teacher, among many male teachers. She was a unique woman because she was not a stay-at-home mom like many of her friends. She remembered what her mom said to her as a young child. Alice later learned that her mother was not going to finish nursing school, but because of her Aunt Kate, she did. So the root of Alice's work ethic was her great Aunt Kate. Alice later became the chairman of the science department at the high school. This position placement was clearly above its time. One day, a man came into her office and thought that she was the secretary of the chairman. Alice let it go because she understood that she was one of the only women in America with a position like this. Alice was also a family woman. She would travel to Elk Lake in Pennsylvania every summer with her family. Although she had a tight family house, she would always let people visit. Her house was culturally futuristic. Because her husband worked to integrate blacks for a living, and Alice's mother told her that there is always room for one more potato in the pot. The Rooney house was fully racially integrated all the time. Years went by and Alice's husband died. He received the front page of the Washington Post. Alice was a smart woman to wait till her early 30s for the perfect guy. Today, Alice is 101 and is sharing her stories and illustrating that she was truly a woman before her time.